Does anybody have a Hillary Clinton cloth? I'm gonna wipe this case out of my computer. Oh my God, you're not gonna run this. Gee. Okay, if I have to listen, I'll listen. All right, I'm ready.
All right. You got it pulled up?
Yeah. We're set. Good luck, both teams.
Thank you. Plan. The United States federal government should potentially increase its space cooperation with the People's Republic of China, including repealing the Wolf Amendment Space Wars. Recent dynamics prove space primacy escalates as 2016. Space Alliance and Rotor coming to the U.S. credit still for the rest of the U.S. Democratic exchange the U.S. Dynamic Space Riders with missile on the space rocket including language to deny space subs by adversaries no one's capabilities vital while resuming the risk of attack others like a program to space appears contradictory attacking other status would invite retaliation where the U.S. is much losing the attack the U.S. would access vital interest avoiding attack capabilities is important in spending against yet the U.S. considering systems to attack adversary capabilities with defense factors including first strike officially to missile goals means pursuing domination field attempts to control the preserving the denying conduct of space because the U.S. want to be later must be seen at the moral high ground, and this sends the signal that the U.S. is pursuing space dominance to trigger space security limits for other countries. That's John 11. China's expertly the U.S.'s absolute security of most countermeasures and risks expense make with capabilities that take similar measures to profess. American quest for dominance is a reflection of the U.S.'s over the primacy, although whatever it is for pursuing the other countries including the worst China's threats to the U.S. damage as the dominance is damaging China's security. These threats are the U.S. security jeopardizing the country's security. Dogwong led to the U.S. initiating space war to maintain size over space. And worst miscalculus in space is high now because of opacity, Finch 15. Shared understanding surrounding space and created a target dwelling crisis, stock and power understanding grow symmetrical space is more complex to negotiate the potential kind of store space from the regular warfare has come to space we do generating device themselves in for computer space is an offense on the demand holding for space targets for us to put this can create a first capability space satellite communication ever creates satellite carrying nuclear man can be perceived for the US that's going to drive the nuclear guidance through the extreme trans and we do this regarding the use of kind of space within these surveillance related distant means we do working interpretation is clear recipe from Smelko and space conflict goes nuclear and platforms are inevitable always probability of ground-based conflicts, building 15. The most versatile in the orbit is where conflicts unfolding hours, 300 satellites with the goal for military around satellite warfare, has begun the space begun the ultimate higher trying to start into spirit of the struggle, versus where the conflict, the destroy the entire space station in Japan, even the full-blown war offenses are, averting both by the murder of China, service to need to damage the satellites, trying to tackle the problem of the most successful action takes the satellites to holding the situations complicated, H-9 satellites rescues, remain written. Causes nuclear war, collapses human civilization, the rounding 16. Future breakthroughs in space, including solar energy, nuclear explosive manning a war with digital satellites, to rebuild place, or religious or stable, who will come to contemplate, we come to those nuclear war disabling. We see the open sample nuclear attack, driving the large complication for competition is running the war with deadly consequences and relations. Uncertainty about space weapons negatively impacts the whole race to win 16. Tentative verification to the whole race testing a secret lose by China because the US too cover stronger forces better human terror logistically do the arms race. Gentlemen of us at the US and trying to cut exchange engage bilateral administration and security space working together. We go for a long way towards what behind being responsible space of the US and trying to ignite conflict building measures too. They can put in place to manage risk and reduce centers. And space engagement provides a foundation for overall strong relationship and versus and Chinese sentiment against government planners that allows co-op space with a mounting satellite observation and exploration within 15. Origin has the potential to be able to stronger over relations to stabilizing the between the US and Soviet Union, collaborating capabilities to reduce central collaboration the most useful and even the most useful and this about the orbits are experiencing inclusive physical time state and interventions to program structure people development of their steps to make sense of the work for which are new space weather research, sounding exploration, disaster response, and environmental monitoring always where the US and China have mutual interests. And creates constituencies for co-op, damage aggression, that's Johnson 315. Beyond the general prevention from co-op, from operation to establishing and Chinese constituency or against aggressive actions, create a threatened program by creating vested interest in continuance. We must underway China and areas mutual space co-op in the US and Soviet was used to build large areas just in the Cold War and post-Cold War eras. And US and the Thai desk attended the South China Sea on 15. These do not have to use coexist people in this negative special atmosphere test care to increase the usability of military incident and ARCD, supporting the SS for national diversity, potential for military countries not getting same with key responsibilities for both countries and managed competition while Chinese spain co-op. And SCS conflict causes huge death tolls winter and 11. The government will be used conflicts to war. The US was to try to manage up with another example. Tension is clear. This will lead to nuclear war. There are signs that the US is trying to launch nuclear weapons. The US and Canada to check China with nuclear weapons during conflict with combined Matsu Summer. The cargo war. Women's revenge for the cargo war between India and Pakistan. Japan that such as nuclear conflict almost suddenly nuclear attack by China was slaughtered. At least 10 million Americans see China step to would be far out of the exchange, but would be both would be reduced to smoldering. Where the basins are radio actively channel off for bullets and nuclear weapons around the globe. Destroying agriculture, creating more famine and general chaos. Solvency. Relations are on the brink. The U.S. and China has a key to check military encounters and economic welfare in both nations. So, 15. America can motivate us to participate in mutually beneficial direction and give in specific despite instabilities, but none of these challenges destroy overall club. Things have changed dramatically since 2010. The civil war is near. We are witnessing the origin of parallel exports to the American policy that communities to China and China. Dealing in the American state impediment to China's security. The developments continue both from countries left less security probabilities of violent confrontation will increase the world war and transnational interest will join. Efforts and economic growth from both society will be diminished. And the best way to shift security communities towards peace is changing the iterative practices, other models of change from a representational bias that fails to account for action that is derived from precognitive, unreflexive background knowledge that is defined locally, continually, and in practice pre-eliminate. Cultural representation are set to bring back to the inarticulate know from which the intentional delivery skills from most theories of diplomacy is about to reaction this understanding and knowledge with the very practical nature of diplomacy. How can others in the West know that surely the result of conscious deliberation to most people are the result of ineffective political knowledge looking at people from other has one does not feel the same urgency starting to do so. Tend to spend on those think about ideas fair and tested can do. The word of spectral to be interpreted rather than concrete problems to solve practically well sciences. See the avatar is miles away from practical logic. The challenge to the state's person is the time the analysis of the effects stability is not our science. The end is practice not in real time with actual consequences. Practicality diplomacy cannot be accompanied by detached representational observation. Post-modernist intellectuals these to the point of distorting is practicological meaning works the works embody the armchair analysis falls short. Practicality discourse that is not by the reward. It values practical work to make security discourse possible. The practical knowledge is absolutely necessary and will practice at least from the mastering of action to extreme learning. Practicality is often large part of rationality since the latter is a program try to human beings science better. So the constant feels that there's more peace to the representation security practice feel that they can despite uncertainty the other. They trust the community out of kind of trust not by firm. Instrumental calculation there is important with logical practicality needs to be included in the security community's framework and out of their creates more. It's more than simply not word. It's a self-evident policy that speaks to practice meaning so fallacy and peace and practice. Closely begins to share background as which security its interact peaceful exchange can be dependently expected to extremely remain, but they don't know they're not order things policy makes winning international peace possible. And not cooperating minimizes the ability to sustain space projects and establish space norms from intern 15. U.S. also prohibits collaboration with China space already long-standing U.S. partners working against China's NASA Canada and social business to devising way to fund our harder through the ESA. It's harder. That's part of the interest of the U.S. which tries to begin main particular important students live the potential for future collaboration to China's development technology this time strength towards China and rules of our country including China except the U.S. and China would benefit from ensuring China's space program doesn't need to involve NASA's Beijing. Propose the two nations cooperate in time to that's still a good idea, keeping the communication collaboration open on the answer of everyone, including NASA's time to open with China. And cooperation in revealing the Wolf Amendment reduces the risk of instability by creating more transparency, list or freeze. And 14. Wolf's rationale along the China space and coming in the deep station of the U.S. and would learn about the decision-making process policies and offering to these valuable information discovering the intelligent use of technology working together can create and build trust. And the asked word method is workable. We pose problems to them scientifically and then propose continued solutions based on the political atmosphere this procedure creates and inspires critical thinking and boasts decision making because it inspires multiple questions and mechanisms to measure and test them to or ultimate outcomes found in 12. Conclusion must be generalized to a chaotic world in which the subject limits random behavior showing regulation economy to organize order and behavior mainstreams requires that we believe regulation is not correct behavior is pretty the word is not completely deterministic and be scientific and predict probability. We not only perfectly understand what to be designed to make useful time, we can use evidence and circular generalization, repeated patterns, and regular sort of useful to frame and concepts of policy so many students to be able to take them for interval policy and discuss and logic and assess policy. We should teach students to become curious about part of what students to understand policy to be able to teach them why leaders are students policy action more evaluate the recommended action makes sense to go on it is less strong than systematically connected collected facts. Cases more cases than comparisons say that out of the than my items possible consigning the language may help students to act complicated. The situation where what students do asking students factors of work here is a useful way of breaking down complicated decisions out in the components. What is your evidence? What are cases where they say let's select fairly randomly selectively? And recent evidence the Wolf Amendment created closed loopholes and spurred a staggering chilling effect that repeals key to create certainty. 15. The amendment terms to the confusion among the space community. The Wolf Amendment was intended to restrict only ballot and activities interpretation may knowing the action potential repercussions for staggering the severe to be already transfers from the NASA facilities or any facilities by NASA. This could be ready to exclude all transition from all criminal events of NASA. Wolf and the other members were concerned and wanted for actions.
Would you mark it?
Actions.
I'll send that out right now.
Okay.
I'm just gonna put it in the body of the email if that's alright with you.
That's fine. I'm just waiting for cross-X.
Yeah. Great. So.
Okay, you ready? So what is the China-US relationship built on right now?
Built on? I don't understand the
Like,
question.
where do they interact?
On a lot of things.
Like, it's like other than space, like where do they interact? Other different areas.
They have trade relations. They have like diplomatic talks.
Why is
sometimes.
space key to their relations?
Because right now, like the U.S. and China have like a tense relationship in the context of SCS. We read evidence that's specific to U.S.-China space co-op, it's evidence that says that like the U.S. and China cooperating in space specifically is key to like solve relations. It cites the empirical
If the
evidence
U.S.
of.
and China cooperate in space right now, does that solve for trade disputes, let's say?
I think would be a major factor in trade disputes. They would probably resolve it more easily if they have an issue like an area of co-op. They have mutually like beneficial interest in terms of like space exploration.
The U.S. has been ahead in space for a long time. What makes now key for relations?
I don't understand your question.
Why is like relations all of a sudden on the brink because of space?
Well, the Wolf Amendment is not it was passed in like 2013, Akko? Yeah, 2013, so it is actually passed pretty recently, and right now China is perceiving the U.S. as like having ASAT capabilities, which could potentially take out their satellites that could like detect nuclear weapons. So if debris happens to like take out a satellite, which is always possible, regardless of whatever time
so the
frame.
signal of U.S. space dominance isn't new. Why will escalation
It's not. It is
now?
new. We just read evidence about how, or Akko can read evidence of the Tracy if you want, about how the Wolf Amendment was passed in 2013. So it is relatively new. If debris happens
Why
to
was
take
the
out,
Wolf Amendment passed?
to contain China.
Okay, that's fine. What is like the scenario for space conflict going nuclear? Like, what's the internal link between us dominating space and China just lashing out and attacking us?
Okay, it's not just about like dominating space. It actually, our evidence makes the claim about miscalculations that could arise if like a satellite is taken out. If they perceive that the U.S. has the capability to take out satellites, that can make China nervous.
How are satellites
rightly
taken out?
so. What? Sorry.
How would satellites be taken out?
A variety of things. Also, the miscal could be perception based. So like let's to answer your question, like debris could take it out. Another satellite could like accidentally take it out. Second of all, obviously that would trigger a miscal scenario. Second of all, there's a perception based risk of miscal, which is highlighted in, I believe, the Finch evidence, because like the U.S. and China have. Do you have a question?
No, you can keep going.
Okay, the U.S. and China have a very tense relationship, and the U.S. is not giving China any information about the space program.
You read evidence that like U.S.-China relationship is key to the South China Sea. Where in like any of your cases it make the connection between space and the South China Sea? Like, why is one key to the other? If the South China Sea is about territorial claims.
We read 3 internal links about how U.S.-China space cooperation is specifically key for our relations. It dampers Chinese aggression.
Sure, it spills over to like general co-op. How does it solve the minutia of South China Sea
It's not a minutia.
problems?
That's like a very large problem in the U.S.-China relationship.
Okay, how does it solve China's territorial claims? Like, what does it do to make China back off of the territorial claims?
We would argue that like if the U.S. and China have an area of mutual interest, then like the U.S. and China will be less likely to go to war because they have like beneficial stuff that goes on between them. So once you send out.
Yep. Actually, hold on. No, it's he sent it, we got it.
Oh.
I still haven't gotten the one at see that.
No one's emails always take.
Oh, got it.
I'm just gonna move this. The order is 3 off in space on relations.
Alright. 1, 2, 3.
After Jeff, that's good.
Yeah, it's an extra piece. Space.
Alright, I'm good.
Is AOL working?
Yeah,
Is it up?
we're ready.
Alright. Reject their Chinese threat doctrine relies on a false epistemology that ignores history and justifies use aggression. 12. Chinese threat doctrine is serious reality problem. Understanding could avoid being superficial and partial. No one should carry out research by attrition to ruin the matter income. The reality problem being historicalizing confounded reality. Chinese people rising American politicians hang demands policy and vigorously preaching China. The breach is due to habitual hegemonic practice and an operating Cold War mentality pursuing ugly interests out of the northern world. Chinese history similarly parallel free trade. Sorry, and whenever their DNAs come down in distorted history, see no foreign interactions and conducting political legitimately exaggerating fabricated statements to reduce the people who would be prepared to invasive activities and aggression against China, and vote next to reject the one he sees and framing it only this acts as a healthy middle ground that revalues problematization. Cheeseman and Bruce 96. Revaluing preserve the sector, both required if nothing is security is be invigorating, nor should be off policymakers sets alternative solutions to problem they propose. They consider part of the problem. The image of the world need to be problem says the critic responsibility policy and all target issues endorsing a good siding must critically assess the decision based upon the knowledge which back such as necessary for the research for the political policies first awareness of new perspective specific policies follows set important tactics, especially when this one by crucial and present policy environmental dominate by reason which becomes a power and reflect no descriptions as a reality as itself, and only rejection of security enables a holistic system of approaches that can relate global crisis on mid 12. 21st century shows unprecedented acceleration in internet global crisis economy. They change energy, food, and economic instability. Competitive policy response have been inadequate because scholars view them as separate orthodox or false diagnosis leading to securitization, naturally valid, competent function of the water, as plus knowledge of failure to city and interrogate a structural capital without very preventive driver, lead to a perfect sort of food or energy crisis by 2030 problems on the way these crises are conceptually or in reality superior on the lines lack is holistic. In terms of the approach to global crisis, often assuming the contemporary need to be scared, that rather than transforming these crisis policy makers overlooking like this obstacles and forget oriented exploration of the best state available major crisis illustrating system and interconnection revealing the capital origin, the structural failings of existing institutional orthodoxy, refined fragmented history ontology, international system, analyze reduction methodological approach, global crisis, security, requiring counter-protective military response, and negotiations exaggerates the danger of reactionary violence, radically social, political, culminating violent conflict, and next is election dissent. Glendon wins out, but Trump's momentum, undecided voter make it tight, silver 9-6. Trump is regaining grounds in Glendon, post-convention peak Glendon ahead by marginal and 3%. Attention point now, national polls swing states tend to rise and fall together further. Sure, the viewpoint Trump favor polling, made sure the magnitude would make the electoral college highly competitive, close to 20%. Say they're undecided, it's been toward Trump over the past 2 weeks. Glendon peaked at 8.5%. Trump has been sliced and have possibly sounded lofty numbers in early August, or played by a convention bound or Molotov. Each found Trump is more likely to win electoral college, while losing popular vote. The fundamentals imply the election ought to be close concerns, including geopolitical events that could work in Trump's favor. Intensity incumbent candidate loser ground pulls out at first base. The public views space cooperation in China with a high degree controversy. Cheryl, high 13. 70% of the general public expressed an willingness to participate with the Chinese top overall reason for non-collaboration in the spirit of U.S. space technology sold or comprehended feeling among 40% participants in technology U.S. to develop over the fast 50-year space life should be permitted not be shared, which another 30% participants believe the Chinese will take shared technology used against the U.S. military, and Trump triggers the global nuclear comment code 16. Trump would rise to the top, rip up the post-1945 World War trash NATO, leading towards Japan, Dukes rather than the U.S. responsible, leave the U.S. responsible for Japanese defense, American power, and far-falling American garrisons out underwriting global security, underwriting nuclear war, far more than 7 decades, but they cannot be standard war, maybe become much more a dangerous place. State NATO is obsolete at a time when Putin is determined to serve Russian powers, dangerous NATO remains a pillar of transatlantic cooperation, nuclear arms, Japan, at a time when the trends rapid rise needs, he states the sharp intention that pay how to stay in the presence of the U.S. Is a principle reason that the Russian people is disintegration of Saudi Arabia, which Trump sees that ready to accept well, the Syria look like a playground. And next is the counterpoint. Counterpoint, the United States federal government should substantially increase the military presence and deterrence capabilities in outer space in the South China Sea. And only increased military presence in space is able to prevent the Chinese-Russian attacks. Diplomacy fails and makes us more vulnerable. Johnson, Dodge 15. Diplomacy unlikely to prevent an attack in U.S. space. Access only making the United States more vulnerable. China, Russia believe they can win a war in space treaties. Will do they maintain peace in the United States. Must direct strength through deterrence and solve South China Sea conflict and avoid appeasement decide. Mingfu and land 4816. To stop China, the United States must be able to deter effectively flexible responsibility, less than ability to send deterrence capabilities, flexible responsible strategy. Show by China, there's a cost destructive action. Will also demonstrate the U.S. has the will of China would strongly reassures ally Washington the match wars with deeds, and deterrence is the only sustainable framework to solve long-term space instability. McDonald 8. What U.S. space strategy would promote U.S. security interests over the long term? The U.S. needs to stabilize space protection strategy with focus on serious escalation control, maximizing warning time, reaction time. We want to be able to deter others from attacking U.S. The space capability reinforces space deterrence and absence. The common space deterrence is approach that goes easier. Treaty to space doctrine, the goals of more stable and secure space environment. Here, so appears to be only the framing. Framework is sustainable, and next is space wars. Space race is fear-mongering. Mars isn't fun about, doesn't care. Project cancellation momentum is against the only one who cares about is a random Texas Republican with 822. Obama tried to shake up the U.S. space program has a little to show its effort to counter Mars mission remains 2 decades away. It's going to by defining the situation afterwards. 8 years ago, Bar went to Obama dished the moon. Obama canceled the constellation of the White House and not consult on the switch. Angry profile members who represent the industry and police Florida, Texas, and California. Decision also obtained traditional U.S. space partners such as Europe and NASA would force a modified Mars plan planet when it became clear they did not have the technology asteroids sent abruptly. Yes, the planet air overseas shut down the space shuttle program. Many critics NASA's human spaceflight program as the Jewish scientists grumble about the relative lack of flagship mission developed by Republican Congressman from Texas and with the idea I see words and lack of importance on space will continue. The Constitution just don't give a damn if it means spending money and other things take precedent. Education, health, for polling. The Kennedy 15. Americans are reluctant to pay more for space exploration. Just 23% of Americans say the U.S. spends too little on space exploration, about 4/10 of the U.S. spends about the right amount, and 25% of the U.S. spends too much on space exploration. Americans are more likely to say the government is spending too little on such areas as education, 70% health, 57%. And Terrence's main strategy, the U.S. warns is improbable. That's Draft 518. The United States prepare for a potential war on space, and is likely to remain on Terrence's important notion and understanding not only for the potential U.S. ending but also for the United States itself, and no space industry. Okay. And next is relations. Beijing's goals to overtake the U.S. engagement in Bolivia, the Black Hole Intel 15. Washington D.C. seeks a cooperative relation with being primary preoccupation to be China effort to disable the U.S. Asian leader. The China cooperative without a challenge the U.S. and security of its allies and others in Asia also to chip away the foundation of global national other globally. Beijing used to ban the U.S. approach to the rise. The Chinese power to strengthen the CCP's hold on power and enhance military capabilities and increase its sweep in Asia while free run the public good abroad. The U.S. should become more strategically private and be Chinese challenge the U.S. interest be occupied with how it might be value be cheaper to remain configured. Washington practicing containment policy. Number 1 policy, the U.S. pursues non-bold Chinese militarism, risks territorial disputes, Chain 14. Beijing and Manila agreed after the mediation by Washington withdrawal from China was only Manila ships Philippines prevents Philippines from returning the Chinese know the U.S. and nothing challenge them after the aggression from China. Washington did not react even though they repeated the agreement and broken. Washington tried to engage China to maintain good relations with him and obviously had restraining militant. The militant China dissuaded others. Washington sees action restraint and responsible to perceive them to be out of point reckless. China will force U.S. policy make a clear choice. Hitler is not happy with the just portion Czechoslovakia. The Chinese are not satisfied with only peace of the Philippines and non-recent SCS will de-escalate. Liang 1816. First China legal position on solely independent we think that China has been longer victim territorial and torture rather than the aggressive third South China Sea the battle for trade for China has been striking national defense of the China's neighbors here depend on trade. The United States realizes there's strategic restraint some of the national productive history of being an or China's church the image responsible to take over 9 China may be interested in joint exploiting the Red Sea and no China rising back numerous checks on aggressions I compare 15. China's foreign policy really aggressive constraint affordable domestic problems daunting social environmental economic political problems limit states ability to generate national power has to be financial performances of detailed drug services or political opposites economic impact resulting in staggering rapid rise of total debt increase. Market increase.
The last card?
Yeah.
The recent rapid rise of total debt increase.
Yeah. So I can bet second to last.
Wait, second last?
Yeah.
No, the last card.
The Eikenberry?
Isn't that last?
I was on Iconberry.
Yeah, second last.
At where?
The recent
Increase.
rapid rise of total debt
increase.
increased.
What is it?
It's like a quarter way down.
Hell, they're never going to refer to it again. Just ignore it.
Okay, I see.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay. Good. That's your turn. Yep. Good.
Yep.
How does the F describe China rise? Or China threat, sorry?
How does the affirmative describe a China threat? By your scenario of them rising in the South China Sea because of territorial claims and us not working with them will lead to war.
Okay,
how giving China as a threat?
Alright, that's not the argument we make. On elections, how is the dissent unique? Or alright, what's the uniqueness of it?
Uniqueness of it. Alright, so uniqueness of it is really talking about how the race is really close right now. It gives a lot of how Clinton is winning in certain areas, but even if she is technically winning, it's still very close. Talks about how 20% electoral college, talks about how they're undecided, and about how polls are really shifting around, especially because they're decreasing since the convention. So they're really changing. No one is really sure who is going to be able to win, but they.
Alright, but no one's sure who's going to win.
That's specifically because it's undecided, but you're playing specifically.
Alright, that's fine. On the counter plan, what's your link to the F on the appeasement dissent?
So we are specifically we are the best method for solving South China Sea conflict and avoiding.
Okay, how does that not link harder to the critique than the F?
So we would argue that there are two separate conditional worlds first.
How is it a conditional world when your K's impacts are based on epistemology and like knowledge production in the debate space?
Because
how do you have a K?
Because we can either go for the critique and
how?
argue what's
okay, the 1AC says we have to be the 1NC says we have to be righter than we are and lefter. How are we supposed to debate?
Answer both and we'll go for one.
What do you mean answer both?
Like we can't go
every answer we make on one flow can be
immediately. I won't go for both flows.
Yes, I'm assuming you're not going to go for both flows in the 2NR. Every answer we make in the 2AC can be cross-played to the other and be used as offense. How is that like a fair model of debate?
Not necessarily.
Why?
Because the counterpoint is so specific to the case that it'd be more of a
how is it specific to the case? Okay, actually, yeah. How does the counterplan solve the case?
Sure, so first for the Space War scenario, by increasing US space hegemony, we're able to solve
Okay,
for space
R1
conflict.
evidence indicates that like more US presence in space is what will trigger a security dilemma for China. How does the counterplan solve that mechanism? How does that?
Because there's like a threshold where once the US has the power, like the hegemony impact filter, they're able
Alright,
to.
what card did you
filter
read on that? What card says that?
First one on C card.
What does it say?
The Johnson and Dunk chart is fantastic, and it says that any conflict that will go on in space will not be solved by diplomacy, but instead through U.S. space power, they're able to act. Hegemony will be an impact filter for any conflicts that would arise.
Okay, where does it say that like that the Wolf
There's-
Amendment specifically is a good thing?
So it doesn't talk about the Wolf Amendment being a good thing. It talks about U.S. space hegemony being a good thing. The way your
That's
YC
fine.
frames it is that we lose space hegemony by lifting the Wolf Amendment.
That's fine. How does the AF make like more space funding happen? Like, what's your link to? Okay, the second card on case, or actually the first card. Sorry. How does that like? How's that a dishead? Or like, how's
The first
that?
card on case is that U.S. space hegemony isn't rising to status quo like you say it is because Obama doesn't care, Mars isn't
Wait, that doesn't.
funded.
That's not why would be right. All right.
Okay,
Tracy, you're sent out.
start with that.
Oh, no? All right. Wait, are we doing like prep for saving stuff? Yeah.
Heck crap. But it's 12:05 left. The order is going to be case in the order of space, relations, solvency, then decay, elections, then the CP dissent.
Space relations solvency.
Also,
Can I get it one more time?
Space, relations, solvency, security, elections, then the CP appeasement.
You're doing the business stuff on case or on the counter one?
On the counterplan. Everyone good?
1 second. Oh, yeah. Alright.
there's a high risk of misconduct conflict in space. The U.S. is pursuing space dominance, which triggers security limits. That's dragging space conflict spills down to Earth in the form of a nuclear war, which has a large impact on civilization. First, they say that space is here on the heart of the app is not about Mars, which is what they're going to describe. It's about transparency and cooperation in space. Also, this takes out the other elections. Like they say, space is not important. This also takes out the elections. The app doesn't need more space. The reason why it's not is more money will have to be spent. However, that's not the app. It's just a different use of the money that's currently being spent. They say deterrence is like the main strategy of the US right now. Miscalc is uniquely key for causing war because no one's expecting it. Relations. Uncertainty in space negatively influences all U.S. centralized spacing union like the app opens the door for more U.S.-China relations into the future, which are key for the future of society. These ties are key to prevent the conflicts and flashpoints like the SCS location that is uniquely poised to have a devastating effect. They say that Beijing will overtake the U.S. However, this is just a ginormous link to the critique and cooperation is mutual work, not just like giving China stuff. They say China militarism. However, this card literally compares China with Hitler, which is another link to the critique. That's the bottom line of their card. Also, the card doesn't say how war happens, just that like Chinese like individual militarism like slightly increases with engagement, but like it's happening anyway, so it's not specific to the AF. And then they say that the SES will de-escalate naturally. However, one of the warrants in the card is relations, which is why we like specifically need relations from doing space cooperation. And then they say that there's checks on Chinese aggression. That's not the thesis of this advantage. We say that like we need these relations to de-escalate tensions that are like happening on both sides. Not like we're not blaming China for this. On solvency, they've conceded 100% of solvency, which means we have 100% chance of solving miscalculation and like increasing relations, which allows us to solve the SES security.
This is a major contradiction with their counterplan on their appeasement dissent. Their appeasement dissent is built upon China threat discourse of epistemology comes first. You should vote on presumption. And PerfCon is a voter for fairness because we have to debate ourselves and they can cross-apply things to different flows even if they're not going in. They can cross-apply in the block, which makes the 1 AR impossible. It's a 1 AR time scale. All fails. Extend Loyola. The only way to shift security communities towards peace is changing their iterative practices and representational bias fails to take account for actively derived from knowledge that define continually and ideas don't change foreign policy. Their epistemology focus obscures the role institutional plan making particular ideologies to dynamic link arguments over the kitchen and 10. It is important to recognize some ideas are better than others. Ideas can take shortcut if they have power. Communities' ability to infiltrate posts will depend on their substance, so they exist in pure category related ideas which the institution was founded can continue to influence policy even though the interests or ideas with the creators may have changed. Some states act contrary to the structural imperatives, the power of ideas, and the ability to promote or handle the policies that the ideas have. Perm do both. Our app is prescriptive of two specific instances which mutual escalation is likely not. The threat creation that their evidence described in the U.S. containment policies are a result of a rational threat construction and understandably giving countries the impression that we are trying to control space, and we overturn that security policy. So it's just an advantage to the KN framework. Only evaluate arguments based off the plain text. Any alternatives are self-serving, regressive. To make 2AC predictability and offensive possible, evaluate the consequences of the app, and alternative is the only holistic way to evaluate prior questions. Evaluate the benefits of the plan before our epistemology. Knowledge is always contextual and fractured, which means specificity is the only way to verify the 1AC's truth claims. Focusing debate on our assumptions of the abstract is intellectual hubris that makes managing balance and environmental destruction impossible, which turns the critique, Lake in 14. I prefer progress within paradigms rather than war between the latter will be inclusive. This is still the age of thermonuclear weapons. We as a society need all help together. There's no monopoly on knowledge. No guarantee that when anyone can knowledge generated and understood with anyone epistemology or ontology is laws useful and knowledge is served. Otherwise, an attack of supreme knowledge will he with the paradigm was being contested over the truth status of some not conclusions that fall from false bio theory with stronger empiricals or we witnessing the demise of particular grand theory, bad theory, wrong with therein. And floating pigs are bad in the voting issue. The moving target justifies perm to the alt and doesn't solve any portion of the app case. Outweighs some probability. Absent the app, America's containment policy will run amok and cause mutual escalation. We have, I said, just two specific instances which would be preferred over their abstract, like serial policy for their claims. And the app's method is workable. That's Bennett. We pose problems, we study them, and then we propose actual solutions based on what's happening currently in the political atmosphere. And this increases critical thinking and bolsters our decision-making skills because we have more questions and mechanisms to arrive at better outcomes. Elections. First is the link turn. Americans want to see U.S.-China space cooperation. Just ask Matt Damon, Martina in 16. The Martian is proof Americans want to see the U.S. and China cooperate in space, advancing China's space program as a priority for Beijing. The Martian shows that U.S. counterparts very much to hope to cooperate with us. There's no threshold to their dissent. At what point do voters switch candidates because of a random space policy like the app? Also, the voters that have switched to Trump, already will have, because Trump's a raging racist, and all the people that will vote for him, probably have already switched, because... Yeah, also there's no link. The link evidence isn't specific to the Wolf Amendment or space at all, really. It doesn't have to do with that. In the case, outweighs on probability. Trump cannot win, and our impacts are more likely, and uniqueness overwhelms the link. Trump cannot win because his demographics aren't large enough to produce a majority. Etel 9-1. Trump is an narrow electoral college pathway to 270 votes. Republicans have taken Trump as a losing bet, and usually half percent of Republican voters find Trump, and except only 63% of Republicans said they would vote for him. Independent voters typically vote for Trump by a better than 2-1. New Hampshire replies Central Trump, even the American economy is in crisis. Simply does not ring true. Around states, he's not pushing into map states like New Hampshire. You can't afford to lose. Well, we have opportunity states like Virginia, Arizona, and North Carolina. New Hampshire should be a fertile territory for Trump. The states population characteristics fit the most exhaustive studies. Trump's supporters are older with higher health, more likely to be a white, non-Hispanic, less likely to identify as LGBTQ. Trump's problem is that his pockets of strength are not substantial enough to produce majorities in the huge gobs of 65% were put on favorable use of Trump the models for Trump victory are right-wing populists, and that's exacerbated by Trump's immigration rhetoric. It alienates necessary swing demographics means he structurally cannot win. Can 9-1. Trump's immigration speed did nothing to attract us. We need voters to scare Trump to the state to let us plan to create a deportation force. Sign this speech is unlikely to help him against a suburban movement of Hispanic voters whom he definitely needs to have any shot at victory in November. Chinese behind poll numbers were likely thanks to Trump's more toned down rhetoric and a moderate sense of immigration. Trump could be still the same Trump that minority voters detest and educated voters feel without changing that Clinton's likely to maintain our lead and make it to the White House in November. Jack, can you get me more appeasement and election stuff?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks. Alright, CP / appeasement. Perm do the app and then do the counterplan immediate solves all of their appeasement does that. Also, the counterplan only solves election and doesn't solve any portion of our space advantage, or it doesn't solve any portion of the space advantage. Competition in space is zero sum. That's Zhang. And we did security dilemmas. Security dilemmas. All actions in space, absent cooperation, are seen as offensive, making escalation inevitable. You can't have competition or deterrence in space without communication that the app creates. So there's no link on the dissat. Things like Soviet space co-op and the Cold War prove giving China a cookie won't prompt them to take over the world. And there's no link. Trying to cooperate with China isn't appeasement. Jivis 15. Accusation of appeasement are also costly when they're held against any effort to negotiate with adversaries whatsoever. Appeasement involves one-sided concession to adversaries and fears that civil just goodwill themselves will bring peace. It is one of fear diplomacy ways cause benefits based on harmless evaluation of American interests and making consensual nation for congregating diplomacy requires flexibility when administrative bargaining and make deals included with adversaries. This is not the same thing as appeasement when administrative negotiation is not appeasement when negotiating is equated with appeasement. It works against national in case turns to dissent. The only way to win the competition in space is through cooperation. We only risk U.S. primacy by not doing the app, and deterrence strategies risk the collapse of the economy, U.S.'s international relations standing and peace. Kirshner in 12.
And approach to make sure that China doesn't become a peer competitors with the utopianism would make China much more dangerous and aggressively confronting China. The U.S. would be at the very high cost of an unknown crisis at all, which would seriously harm not just the economy of America's global military capacity as well. The damage would be widespread. China's become a pillar of economic growth. China is the world's second largest economy. If the U.S. was safe to knock down China's rate of growth, it would blame the U.S. A highly antagonistic U.S. posture toward China would almost certainly bring about the self-fulfilling prophecy of a wounded, hostile, dangerous adversary.
Sorry. That's good. Okay. What was this? Elections. Alright, back to elections. Clinton will win. The media is not representative of the election. Luxembourg, 4:43 p.m. 2 days ago. Hillary Clinton is leading in virtually all the general election polls, and in the recent CNN poll, the methodology is highly questionable. She was starting to pull ahead of the polls in the solid red states in Arizona, Texas. She has strong support within the Democratic Party, but the media will tell you she's not popular. Hillary Clinton is winning. She's in more basic text than any other public figure in political history, and she has still enough she needs to change nothing. The media needs to stop even changing what she does. Clint,
Yes, just read it, just read it.
You sure?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
No. Currently, what?
Just read it.
Read it. Currently, Clinton has a 100% chance of winning the election. Trump must win Florida, which is coincidentally where space launches, which is a source of revenue, are located. Cats, 910. Clinton has 80% of winning the presidency. The model says Clinton is favored to win based on the latest international poll. Clinton chance losing about the same as an NFL kicker missing a field goal from the 20-yard line. Our estimates is that states tend to like the country as a whole. New Hampshire 92%, Virginia 91%, Pennsylvania 90%, Minnesota 88%, Wisconsin 82%, Colorado 81%, Nevada 69%, Florida 63%, Iowa Ohio 57%, Iowa 51%. Mr. Trump's challenging path to the presidency. This diagram illustrates how important Florida is to Mr. Trump. It is extremely difficult for him to win without it. And there's no link uniqueness. Trump is already bashing China. There's no link. Trump cannot sound convincing even to his own supporters on issues of space and science. And the email server is the only issue of controversy remaining in the election card as compared with the SAS conflict. Blake 7-9. Trump's image has proof that email server is what might otherwise be a coordination with Trump to point any other explanation for perception of email server track with their overall image received on the trust 1,000. Other sensitive issues from China and the SAS to the NSA, the intelligence gathering department did not even get mentioned. Well, email server, there's no link. No one cares about China. No. Okay, check some of those cards and then we'll do cross sticks.
Okay. That was actually a lot.
Yeah, my tweezy was a bit short. Have you sent them?
Not yet.
Who is the extra? What extra? That's it.
It should be
Alright, y'all good for cross X?
Hold on. I'm gonna have to read up that. Alright. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, how has the Martian Space Co-op proved the whole US population once?
Alright, so what the Martina card is talking about is it says that like this movie did really well at the box office, and a Chinese official said that The Martian is proof that Americans want to see the US and China cooperate because it did so well. And the movie features the US, and spoilers, the US having to go to China to get Matt Damon off the moon, and this like was like really popular and people like wrote about how the US and China should cooperate in space more, and the Wolf Amendment is preventing that.
How does your Edsel 9.1 account for the recent shifts in polls that are like that CNN is producing and our cards are saying showing a tight race between Clinton and?
I mean, like, even if Clinton's like winning, but like right now, I would say like Clinton's winning by like 5 points. Like,
So you're saying Clinton's winning right now?
No. Yes,
yes, Clinton's winning right now. And the reason why Trump cannot win, what this card says is this card isn't specific to polls, it's specific to how like the electoral college is set up right now and what like voter base Trump has. Trump primarily has like white.
Okay, if you're saying that Clinton is only ahead by 5 points, can't those 5
No,
points?
more than 5 points.
More than 5 points?
I mean, like,
how many points is Clinton winning right now?
Like I'm not sure exactly the number, but like even if it is 5 points, Trump like cannot gain more support because the people like just like the kind of voter base he has right now and the voter base he's appealing to, it's one and the same, and there's no votes that he can like get in more. The people who have switched in probably already have.
Alright, why is the immigration rhetoric specifically gonna just lead to him totally losing? What about his other policies that maybe others will support?
Okay, so immigration has been like going up recently. Trump like is really aggressive against people coming from South America and Latin America. Like, why would they vote for him when like people came here? Like,
okay, how does that mean if the people from Latin America and like South America aren't gonna vote for him? How does that mean he's gonna lose?
What? Because right now he's losing. Like, you look at the polls, and because of his extreme racist rhetoric, people who are either like the targets of that rhetoric or people who are like sensible human beings won't vote for Trump because they see his immigration rhetoric. It's just like, yeah, like really important demographics in society won't vote for him because his rhetoric targets them.
Why our link, you said our link doesn't talk about like the Wolf Amendment and everything, why is that specific or like key to not being voted on like in this round? Why can't we just talk about, why isn't it key to say like normal US-China co-op on space?
What? Because like the only way we can have cooperation with China in space in the first place is with the Wolf Amendment. This card that you have was like written before the Wolf Amendment was even passed. Like if you want to have legitimate like elections, you should like have a card that like says like repealing the Wolf Amendment and engaging with China to have like more communication and transparency and focus on stuff that the Whedon card from the 1AC talks about, like space weather modeling or removing debris, stuff like that. If you have a card specific to that, then you like probably win, but you don't have that card.
Alright.
That's it? Great.
Okay.
13 minutes, sorry now.
What was I?
I'm gonna go grab some water.
No worries. There's no like. Should be a way to just kind of leave it like kind of propped open. I don't know.
Is there anything outside the door?
No. No one else can get in.
only two reasons to reject a team on security were perf-con and floating picks, right?
Yeah.
Okay, 5:52 left.
Actually, since we're doing 13, I'll just send it out.
Oh, yeah, never mind. You're fine.
Alright, final sign.
Okay, 5:21 left.
What's the order gonna be?
It's going to be the K, counter plan, and then counter plan like contain itself on the same floor. I already did that.
Counter plan, and
Well, you did it on the same flow. I did it on case, so wherever you floated it.
Okay.
you did it on case.
Well, these are cards on case, so also fine. It'll all be on the counter plan flow.
Okay.
Okay. Is anyone not ready? Let's go counter timers. Anyone not ready? They say perf-con is bad, but there's two conditional positions. The key to test the affirmative from different angles. First is key to critical thinking. It forces them to think beyond just going on their blocks. They're getting tested from the right and left. And second is they're able to access deeper education than the rounds they just get by testing their epistemology and the solvency of their plan. We're able to testing epistemology and the solvency of their plan. We're able to dive into the depth of their arguments. And three is decision making. It forces the affirmative to be able to diversify their arguments rather than just relying on basic arguments that could possibly be applied to different flows. And in this debate, there are no arguments that can be applied across different flows. And four is topic reasonability, security, and deterrence counterplan are both reasonably coded the topics. They should be prepared to argue both. And they say floating picks are bad. It wasn't a floating pick. The K. It's probably not possible to go against South China Sea because South China Sea is not seen under threat in the K resolution. They don't really give any external impacts to why floating picks are bad. But I'll give you a few. Why they're good. Education demands floating picks, and the literature checks. And there's no progression. You should reject both of these arguments, but not reject both of these arguments, but not the team. We're not going for the security K. There's no fairness lost in the ground. I'm going to answer the turn here. They say they decrease security in the status quo, but I'll do that work on the containment debate. Go to counterplan.
The counterplan is the only way to solve space miscalculation and warn the South China Sea engagement, with China only is more vulnerable because diplomacy will inevitably fail. When China feels like they have gained the edge, they will attack. They have also conceded that deterrence is the only sustainable framework, which means solvency is an external net benefit. The counterplan probably also avoids election because our link is specific on fear of info sharing in space. Our counterplan is just U.S. posturing. Containment is popular in the United States, and the app is an iteration of ignoring bad things that China does in favor of false optimism. This ignores the reality that China will view whatever the United States does as a containment policy that's opposed to their goals, so they will always try to exercise past engagement policies, prove that they will only take advantage and build up military, in contrast to the United States trying to engage with China. That's our Blackwell evidence. And China is irrational when its rise guarantees conflict with the United States. A hardline shift is key to solve with Chaminade 16. China's trying to drop America off the high seas, Beijing instructions being asserted as foreign policies become counterproductive. Parties lashing out Chinese leaders are now according to a logic that the rest of the world is not familiar with. National business between Beijing and the talks worry about action growing. China's actions make matters worse. The Chinese military and bold domestic success preemptive attempts to see more territorial engagement resemble Humans. We'd rather approach the long-term cooperative relations are not possible. China is not stable. The leaders are no longer pitching in the mood to deal. Their counterparts are going to take place. We need to make declarations, reverse gains from gradually imposed costing change. The terms of contract, American leaders employing policies that sounded good to the ears, shit switching for so long. There are no good options left. We must change our course for people everywhere. And there's a link back, two link backfires. First, improve relations will allow China to continue free riding and abusing soft U.S. policies. That's Blackwell. And second, working with China in space will also lead to the info sharing that will probably embolden China because they'll understand more about our military technology. And three, cooperation is impossible, perceived as containment. That's Blackwell. And four, structural barriers to cooperation between rising powers and great powers makes cooperation impossible. That's Libra 14. Liberal internationalists assume IR positive sum and security. There's little reason for optimistic assumption. Cases include pro-Open East Asia, the Middle East scholars found instead of a trend toward global problem solving, suddenly feelings on significant emerging powers opposed ground rules of the Western liberal order seek to transform multilateral arrangements and shy away from global responsibilities. BRICS opposing Western liberals' narratives. They seek national autonomy and an independent role in China. Will popular plans concession and empiric experience of Chaminade 15. Under international law, interpretation of election could include the process of Beijing ordaining Hong Kong. The declaration expressly guarantees residents growing evidence these rights are being undermined. Protests triggered violence against journalists and police obstruction of the protests, or peaceful failure to investigate violence, or creating a climate of impunity. And they say that cooperation isn't appeasement, but China used everything we're doing towards the United States as an attempt to contain China because of the China threat narratives that is portrayed throughout. And they say it turns into family because cooperation solves this China threat narrative. But China will lash out no matter what. That's the Blackwell evidence. I rather want to see this evidence to test that no matter all China policies, especially modernizing in the status quo, is an attempt to counter United States power. And they say the counterplan is all space, but hedge is an impact filter. U.S. deterrence will allow for U.S. deterrence allows for preemptive strikes to happen in the preemptive strikes to. Allows us to preempt any strikes that happen and improve any resiliency in the status quo because U.S. strong hegemony will allow any space problems to be contained. And now to the permutation debate. The permutation links to the disadvantage. The counterplan is based on unilateral U.S. action, not China engagement. There's no chance of the permutation. China says no because they view increased military presence and containment in the counterplan and the plan are mutually exclusive. Freebird 15. Here's the so-called offensive realist flow of international relations and addiction to the casino. American relationship is a zero-sum struggle for power and influence. The optimal strategy for dealing with China rise is containment, legal for American security containment strategy, but effectively engagement. They say space is zero-sum, but this is a link unique discussion. The United States has been ahead of China in space for a long time. So there's no way that space is zero-sum because the threat has been there for a while. It's not just since the Wolf Amendment. The United States has always been the leader in space hegemony. So the time frame for the impact is probably pretty sketchy because the link uniqueness is bad. And they say that escalation in space is inevitable. Hegemony is an impact filter. So even if escalation happens, hegemony will be able to solve for that. And space deterrence would reduce Chinese space threats. It's Weapon 16. The purpose of U.S. space deterrence was to deter an adversary from launching a nuclear or conventional war. Chinese improving space abilities had negative sum consequences for U.S. military security for U.S. space deterrence, and including enhanced defensive preemptive strike, and improved resiliency. And deterrence is key to maintain space hegemony. It's McDonald 8. U.S. space policy will deny adversaries in the space of the use of space capabilities hostile to U.S. national interest deterrence. Base superiority will be grounded in reality of difficulty. Maintaining dominance in space deterrence. Base superiority will be less costly to maintain. The dominance of the United States will need to supplement the strategy with alternative asymmetric means that deter China from attacking U.S. space interests. And they don't answer the South China Sea scenario. Could extend the Minu evidence. It says increasing military deterrence on the ground as well will solve the South China Sea because hegemony will be an impact filter in the region because any China escalation that will happen will probably not be able to challenge the United States. You can cross-apply the Eikenberry evidence that China doesn't have the means to challenge the United States, especially if hegemony is growing high. And they say that space cooperation is good in the status quo, but space cooperation will only embolden China to gain knowledge about what the United States is doing in space in order to attack them. The Blackwell evidence, not Blackwell evidence. Where is it? The Chang evidence from the one is fantastic on this. It says China will take any ability they have to capitalize on mistakes that the United States made in order to challenge the United States world order because they feel contained by the United States that they're not able to spread their wings and become more successful. Yeah, go to the space case flow. So they say that more relations is the only way to prevent escalation in space from happening. But there's no space hegemony in the status quo right now. That's our black hole and tells evidence that. Wrong. What's wrong flow? Okay, well, our evidence that Obama does not care about space in the status quo right now because they're not funding Mars and there's no way that the space is passing the status quo between Germany won't rise, which means China there's no case for miscalculation happening in the status quo with China rise unless we concede to them and give them more power in the. Okay, Dylan, what should I go to? Unless we concede them and give them more power. I'll go to a case defense. Go to the South China Sea flow relations. Their answer to the Loyola evidence is terrible, and they say that relations, that there's de-escalation on both sides that need to happen. The Loyola evidence is fantastic, but by the South China Sea conflict will not escalate. There's 9 different warrants of what escalate, because the South China Sea is key to the Chinese economy. The first warrant is key to trade happening in the region and trade with other countries in the region. If war escalating in the region, then trade would be killed. And second is they have a strong national defense. Because they have a strong national defense, they have no reason to escalate right now, but they wouldn't. Their offensive army powers are not as powerful, so they'll lose anymore, but they're strong national defense because they have no reason to escalate a conflict in the South China Sea. And the third reason that judicial regulations probably check. China has no means to expand beyond what they're already doing because of international checks like the UN. They're trying their best, but they can't. I'm going to go to the Eikenberry evidence. Extend Eikenberry, there's no China rise in status quo. There's 4 different warrants Eikenberry points out. First, they have an aging population, which means they can't grow their military. Second, the economy is weak, so they have no way to fund a military from happening. That means they can't modernize their military fast enough, but the containment is that probably looks better than this because the impact will still happen even if they can't challenge us because they're emboldened and feel a fear by challenging they fear the United States. It means even if they don't have the ability to challenge the United States, they will still try to escalate conflict even if they don't have the ability to. And the third reason why they can't escalate is because the CCP worries about their stability over escalation in the South China Sea, so they'll do everything they can to protect stability. That includes counter-US containment policies.
Okay, you good for cross 6?
Yeah.
Okay. Starting day, if epistemology comes first, why do you get a kick out of the critique?
So first you said that you have to weigh the impacts of the affirmative first, so I conceded your framework of weighing the affirmative.
Right, that's fine. Where'd my CP4 go? Oh, it's over here.
How does the permutation link to the decide?
So the permutation links to the decide for a few reasons. I guess especially because the plan is a concession to China. So the plan, okay, so first off, by engaging China in space, we're able to share, it's shown as us trying to control what China does in space. That is action of containment. And second, more importantly, is the South China Sea. And by cooperating with China in the South China Sea, it's seen as trying to control their claims over the sea. That's a containment policy. Everything we do in the status quo is viewed as containment. That's the Blackwell evidence. That means the only way to counter any China aggression is to have a hardline policy.
But so how is the African concession?
So the affirmative is viewed as a concession. It's not actually a concession because we're.
Okay, how does China view it as a concession?
Or China views it as a containment. Like it's a concession the other way around. China views us as containing them with the plan.
Okay.
It's an attempt.
Wait, but isn't
your
Blackwell evidence says that's happening in the
right. No, it's viewed as a concession because we're letting them do what they want in the status quo, or after the plan.
That's not the app, but alright. Okay.
We're letting them control their claims in the South China Sea.
Okay, if we do the counter plan, meaning if we put stuff in space and we deter China in other ways, how does that still link to the appeasement decide?
How does the counter plan link? Counter plan doesn't link. It solves the decide.
No, sorry. How does the
permutation link?
If we do the entirety of the counter plan plus the
because by doing the entirety of the counter plan, we're still seen as concessions in other areas.
We're literally pumping up our military in space.
So we're increasing our military in the South China Sea, but by having that dialogue with them in the South China Sea, it's seen.
What dialogue? What dialogue?
The app is just about space.
Your affirmative is about improving relations, so we can talk about what's going on in the South China Sea.
The app is about repealing the Wolf Amendment and doing engagement with China over space. Anyway, you said
so
how does China like free ride from relations? Just get stuff for free.
Oh, so the argument is that with improved relations, China is able to take advantage of our soft policies to get access to information the United States has, and access to space, space technology information and access to U.S. plans, and that allows them to manipulate the United States because that's their goal with any engagement.
If the SCS won't escalate, then why do we need the CP?
If the South China Sea won't escalate, because it also solves space wars.
How does the CP solve space wars?
By increasing space hegemony, because we increase deterrence presence in space and on the ground.
Let's read your CP text right now.
Yeah, sure.
Alright. Your CP text says USFG should fine.
How does the deterrence capability solve for this?
Substantially increase the military presence and deterrence capabilities.
Okay, what would happen if miscalc happened in space under the counter plan? What would the United States do?
If miscalc happened in space?
Yeah.
So
Will
the
use
argument
that.
is that miscalc won't be able to happen because
How?
of preemptive
Why won't it
information.
happen?
So an increase in U.S. hegemony will lead to preemptive information. It's not happening right now because Obama's not supporting any increase in space hegemony.
That's aggressive.
My timer broke, sorry.
I take prep for one or
No, let me send it out.
It's sent out or not?
No.
Okay, let me
yeah, we can oh, just tech prep.
Yeah.
So you are taking prep?
Yeah, so,
Coaching prep?
Yeah, I already started it.
okay, cool. Okay, 1 hour sign.
Right.
We'll stop it.
I have 4:45 left.
Alright.
How much left?
4:45, right?
Yeah. I'm dead. Single. Ah, there we go. Got it. Is it just elections?
Elections, and then relations.
Okay.
Sorry, say it again. Elections, then relations. Alright. Anyone not ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are ready?
Yeah.
Okay. The acid engagement in China will be a huge election means fund of soft and China by GB ensuring the Trump's own always the Trump destabilize the world leading screen diminish US leadership will escalate nuclear war in terms of case Trump's action and rhetoric will destroy any cooperation with China demonizing them into escalation he will destroy US leadership and attacking the country and proliferating and trying to gain power. Japan will develop nukes, Russia will lash out, Middle East will collapse leading to global nuclear war every nation drag in that's code and the time frames meet after Trump is elected as sending other nations of the US and no longer keep the world safe and completely turns the relations Trump with direct relation with China Trump would single them out and create detent turning space cooperation I mean the space the firm's impacts are going to be in a completely term space call because Trump is about being is about U.S. being the #1 country who would ensure that U.S. will have space supremacy the only leader within space and Trump victory risks extinction via climate change global war Nisbet 16. Trump would disrupt the fight against competition to way to snowfall, help Trump promise to cancel Paris Agreement and funding U.S. funding for the UN climate change program roll back on relations cut power to plan division Trump presidency post-election threat call that any different from the past where we can't do double down to climate change we send them in emotional ways to look at economic crisis theory a global terminal with a failure Trump effort to tackle this issue at the very moment when the world needs American leadership Trump and critics and climate policy would have severe chilling effect on President Trump ready reckless not particularly China teaching Russia China risking bad class military common stakes of running U.S. president election never been higher and then they have their on the line there were March 16 saying the Martian show space scope the one has only small population is in terms of a Chinese leader is not a pulse of the American people. You cannot use that to vote against it. And then they say that Trump is a racist and all his voters will already deal with him. That is not true because our civil rights card really talks about how Trump is the polls on Trump and Clinton are changing in the South School. The election is very close right now. It's nice how there's still a ton of about 20% of the electoral votes are still undecided how the votes are completely changed, especially since the end of the national convention and just how the election is coming. I mean, there's no definite answer that Clinton can't be winning right now, and then they say there's no link though. Extend our first thing our UV 13 evidence about how the public view of space co-op on China they'll not like it so this is 70% of the public does not like cooperation with China being they're going to be opposed to Clinton is going to promote Trump for the election and they say that has to be specific to the Wolfman and everything it's just a general space cooperation is just what the public opposes in general and also engagement in China causes electoral backlash ensures the plan gets spent negatively 15. China became one of the most contended issues regarding foreign policy. Frequently China during campaigns. Electorate needed the U.S. cause kind of harsh rhetoric and actions against the PRC. Local movements needed to pursue policy, pursue war toward PRC. Obama policy may seem like a competition already. Fierce right toward the PRC. American public opinion remains more negative than possible regarding China. The United States for Chinese action led a policy and public rhetoric and the public and
And the public opposes sharing military space with China links turns the case we in 13. Domestic constitution both countries strongly oppose military space dialogue that result in budding legal agreements on legal treaties, as well as the case for dialogue between Washington and Moscow. And they say unique several OM's link. The one Senator are still 960, which I explained about what it says, and Trump can still win profound unpredictability, email service, and voter mobilization will prove the race is far from over Fisher 99. The least will consider Clinton's presidential campaign cheese now. It's Tyler Trump in Florida, down Ohio, and Sully, ahead of Pennsylvania, all states who want to win for reason to believe in one Trump can see profound expedition crush 16 and others, and some of the president field is studying Democrats are racist tightening, but the bomb that Clinton received as secular conventional is never going to last. Clinton campaign is back of the airways. The group swing state and still hasn't been able to pull away and create a gap between the election and Nevada and turnout. The Republican Party is scared of voters are worried about low turnout, media Republicans losing control of the Senate and the House under fear. This incredible move. People don't trust Clinton so many times. Their campaign has reacted public. Nothing new. Haters had to work and cut it, work and massive amount of side of voters decide to And let's just go on the line by. They have their Ed Sulker, the one that says you need to start one because they cannot win Democrat. The one you need to trust. You need to get some actual polls of what the American people actually do, which is what our evidence is specific about. All this evidence is just a subjective of what one person thinks of what was going to happen to Trump and the neighbor Cohen. 111 saying how his immigration rate cannot win. The polls contrary showing how the race is actually very close, and Trump has the ability to win. So and even if the immigrants will not vote, there's still a chance for him to win. They say Clinton will win for 2 days. So yes, yes, he may win, but that card doesn't talk about the closest of the race. We can see that Clinton, yes, is barely winning right now, but is not surely close to the race and the ability that Trump actually has. And then you can cross-apply that to the House 910. Then they say the email controversy stops at the one controversy. There are other controversies that are big issues like our health, and Evans doesn't assume what the current elections actually do. And on case. All cause two relations, too many issues that they disagree on. Pipe 14 central shift in powers, banish and behavior authority, nutrients, and U.S. relation around military, Mars, and sabotage, unsettle the allies, Beijing, and see Washington, pivot, and Chinese power. The U.S. relationship has become plagued by distrust. Mark that distrust.
12:05, perhaps starting.
uses pursuing space boundaries. Good joke.
Okay, stop round. There's 7:45.
Yep.
Actually,
Actually, can you
continue practicing this is something else. Wait.
I don't know anything. Oh, I do. I also have to do it. It's only one card. Actually, I'm not even reading a card.
Okay, stop round. 140 or 6:43.
Okay.
So the order is going to be wars, relations, appeasement, elections.
Wars, relations, appeasement, elections.
I'm going to grab some water before. Actually, after me.
Let's start from again. 6:43 starting.
Alright, stop round.
Okay, 5:40. 2. Okay. Wait, so it's space, relations, appeasement, CP, elections. Right. Thanks.
The U.S. is pursuing space almost now. It's problematic because other countries do this. It's other areas of trying to cultivate space, especially tends to be a space in office over doing space security efforts for other countries where nuclear has U.S. gone because I see kind of respect the other countries, especially scared of establishing drug policy and striking relations key to avoid crisis in which collapse could easily go east of the nuclear, and that is the Smelko scenario. First of all, they say that no Japanese space really, but no, yes, the U.S. is specifically pursuing dominance in space. That is the one is targeting us. Next, they say that Obama doesn't care. But first of all, we feed the Afghan, so that's not even a reason why the Afghan have. Next, they say no miscall. But first of all, there's no miscall on how there's no analysis on how there's no miscall as possible. There is a very good possibility of miscall because debris can always happen. It can always get us out. And the second of all, they say that there's like and also like it will happen. That's a good net benefit of the counterplan. So they can't solve for miscall scenarios. And relations. We'll concede that there's no risk of an SES conflict. That was the what, like 11 evidence or something like that. So there's no risk of an SES conflict, which takes all the impact of the SES to the SES and then we'll also say there's no risk of China ranks, which means well the Eikenberry evidence is really good. We'll read it back to you now. Dawning social, environmental, social, economic, political problems, the state's ability to generate national power, SOE financial performance to do this drag, so the serious political option, the economic impact, result of staggered consideration, rise in total list. This means that there is no risk and impact on the FX because there is no risk of China rise. There's no way the F can solve all the warrants of the Eikenberg Congress, means that there is no way that like China rise can be a problem. And they said. They say that China like follows the U.S. No SK conflict, but first of all, the F has solvency based on the reasons of the China rise, not so the no risk of any for the dissent. We'll see the cause too. Another reason why there's no like impact for the dissent. The counterplan thing, perm. The counterplan dissent. I don't know what to call it. Extend the permutation of the after and then the counterplan solves any risk of link because we can just put more defense in the space while opening co-op. This is the only way we can access the worst space scenario, which is undercovered in the 2NC, and not explain how the counterplan access to the impacts. And also they say the China says no, but first of all the app is not conditional, so there's no way the China can say no. Next they say mutually exclusive, but first of all the card does not say the mutually exclusive. Second, the plan is not appeasement, so it's not like there's no reason why we can't do the plan. Then the counterplan. Next they say the permanent but no, there's no link because we're literally just beefing up our space capabilities, and also we're beefing up our president of the SES, so there's no risk of link to this head. On firm. And framing issue. Deterrence is a three-part triangle. It includes capability, credibility, and communication. Lack of one of these three, at least the clubs of the triangle. Competition is not included in the world of the app because I label a lack of stable determinants to stretch against China and church cooperation. Let's go triangle. Even the conscious notable is still good to U.S. communication exists. It improves the app for one and Tracy one. And deterrence collapses after the affirmative Smelko security limits. Ensure all defensive actions against this also makes escalation. And all this is conceded coming out of the block, which means it's going to be an easy app battle after the 1 year. I feel we don't have to win anything else with the sub because we solve their hostile rise impact by maintaining a relative power differentials of communication during the Cold War and security dilemmas. The plan resolves the offense, defense paradigm of the score, which every defensive move seen is up as a new escalation due to better communication, data sharing, and it's all the negs, perception, deterrence, and relation to claims is impossible, doing in stable forms of competence and success, which security dilemmas make the app a prerequisite to this evidence to restore the third deterrence triangle. And no link, serving Indian troops, we can cooperate with rising powers without being appeasement, and B, appeasement is a one-sided concession, which is different from the app's negotiable diplomacy. China's, that's the chief's evidence space co-op, with the Soviets just resolve their arguments about pocketing concession diplomacy, requires flexibility and a willingness to negotiate, which has prevented the escalation of the war. And okay, should I do a case for this? Do you want to go to?
Well, first.
Whatever. Case for this how they assess cooperation with U.S. space overlord or French norms settling abilities are crucial. Space cooperation, cooperation negotiation is key to problem plus China. And B's offensive realism is not utopia. That's the current evidence. Rising powers is not only challenge dominant powers. Elections. Okay. Extend the insult to regard Trump's basis primarily white middle class, religious, and non-LGBT males. This is only population that Trump hasn't targeted consistently. So of course they're likely to vote for a first. And next day you can extend the no you need to remove the that was one and two. That was the Tracy Luxembourg. There's no chance of Clinton winning. There's no chance of Trump winning because Clinton is sure to win. She's being poorly misrepresented by the media. So even if you don't buy the other cards, you're gonna not buy the 2NC cards because the media is just misrepresenting her. Next day, Clinton will also show, and that's the cast evidence. Every single state that has voted to get in the past to as the U.S. has voted as a whole is every single one is voting for Clinton is projected to vote for Clinton. And there's no link. Their cards are to the Wolfman and the they say generics find about space out, but it's not about real world. The world is an intricate place where small crossplay there. Lewis card from the 1NC is the only person who cares about space. A Republican congressman in Texas. This takes out all of their link evidence. Also, Blake from the 2AC says the email cards is the only thing voters care about, which means this is eternal link takeout. There's no risk of a link because they conceded this from the 2NC. Also, Yeah, there's like no risk of a link because only people care about emails. Like that was completely conceded by the 1 hour. They consider there's no threshold on voter switch. No one should reason that's why today. Space policy flips or voters know the information computing on the Chrome now, and voters on a single issue just passing the F doesn't change anything.
I think 521.
I have 443.
Yeah, something like that, right. Cool. Sorry now.
How much prep y'all?
334 left.
Yeah. How much? 334.
go to the counter plan, elections, Space Force.
Sorry, can you repeat those?
Counter plan, elections, Space Force. Timer. Is anyone not ready?
I'm alright.
Will concede the permutation is only tested computation. That means their only offense on the flow is a risk of link terminating appeasement decided. You can cross-apply the P evidence from the relations flow. There's all causes to relations happening in the status quo. There's trade deals, posture in the status quo. There's no way that they can solve relations during the appeasement decided. They have no offense on this flow, and they'll need a lot of analysis in the next speech to get it. Go to the election decide. The asked engagement channel will be the key issue in the election because it will be spun as soft and shiny level ensure a Trump presidency in bad outways because Trump destabilizes the world order, leading to insecurity and diminished U.S. leadership, which escalates to nuclear war and turns the case because his actions and rhetoric will destroy any cooperation with China by him being with China bashing increasing the status quo. And that can be another link because when they plan China bashing increasing the status quo, this demonizes them into escalation. He will destroy all U.S. leadership, which antagonizes other countries into proliferating and destroys our alliances. Loss of diminishes will lead to proliferation happening in Russia. Will lash out considering things in the Middle East will collapse into a global nuclear war. Every nation is grounded, and that's the Cohen evidence. The time frame on this is fantastic because immediately after Trump is elected, it sends the signal to other countries that the U.S. is no longer protecting them under their umbrella. This means that other countries will proliferate independently, regardless of Trump's actions. This will escalate. And secondly, Trump does nothing to solve climate change. Actually, it escalates by taking away any clean energy in the status quo. That's the NISBET evidence, which means climate change is an independent reason to vote for the negative. And Trump turns relations, a regulation with China, as Trump would send the signal to them and create deep tensions that hurt space cooperation. It turns space cooperation because Trump is about the United States being number one in space will increase United States hegemony. Now they say that demographics will ensure that Trump can't win, but the demographics do not assume the 20% of undecided voters in silver evidence. The silver evidence is fantastic. Because it indicates that Trump is only down by 3 points, but there are 20% of undecided voters. The people that are alienated because of their demographics are not in that 20%. Their already decided election is too close for call. They say that Clinton is sure to win, but they underestimate the chances that Trump has to win. Extend the Fisher evidence. There's 5 different warrants as to why Trump can still win the election. First is expectation. Trump exceeded expectation. No one thought he would win the primary, but he beat out 16 other candidates because his rhetoric is key to drawing people in, especially with engagement with China. The rhetoric will only become stronger. And second, the race is really close. Their evidence only indicates that Clinton has an 80% chance of winning, but doesn't get down to the actual points that she has. She's only up by 3 points right now. That means 20% of undecided voters gives Trump a huge chance to win the election. And they say that there's a lot of states for Clinton, but the Fisher evidence indicates that Florida and Ohio are already for Trump right now. Those are 2 key swing states to win the election, especially when he's only down by 3 points. And they say, go to the link debate. They say that our link card from 1SC doesn't mention the Wolf Amendment, but it's fantastic on space cooperation with China. The Heracroix evidence indicates that the majority of the United States public is against space cooperation with China because they'll see it as us giving them information about our space technology. This is seen as a concession to China to the public. It doesn't like it seen as weak on China. Trump will spin this as also being seen as taking United States power in the United States, United States hegemony, which will take even more voters from that 20%. And second, they say that no one cares about space, but our Whedon evidence, our Whedon link is fantastic. The public cares about space military technology. The overwhelming amount of constituencies care about the technology we give to China because they view China as a threat. That means by engaging with China in space cooperation, they viewed as getting technology from us. And 3, they say that people only care about the emails, but they ignore the warrants from the Fisher evidence that says Clinton can't be trusted. Clinton can't be trusted. It's not only with the emails, but it's also with her foundation, with Benghazi, and with other issues that are rising in the status quo. And since the lack of trust with Clinton, it means voters could easily swing over to Trump because they don't trust anything that Clinton will do. That's why there's such a large number of undecided. To filter this entire debate through the chance that out of the 20%, only 3% swing towards Trump, and that's a Trump presidency. So do some impact framing here. You have to vote. You have to weigh the probability of a debris hitting a satellite, and that debris hitting a satellite for China to escalate all the way to nuclear war versus the perception of a Trump presidency. They have no probability on their 1SC advantage because even if China gets hit by debris, it gets hit by one of those satellites, you can cross by the Eikenberry evidence that they did the work on. They don't have the means or motive to escalate any conflict, which means the probability of their 1SC having any impact is probably way less than the election disadvantage. Is there anything I'm missing on elections, Dylan? Oh, actually, extend the goal and evidence. They dropped that there's a lot of electoral backlash to any engagement with China, let alone engagement that goes with information sharing. And I think that's it. Yeah, go to space case. So they say that space is problematic right now because of a lack of communication, but there's no way that that lack of communication will escalate all the way to nuclear war. You have to extend the wit's evidence that China hegemony is not happening in space right now in status quo because Obama is not posturing in space. That means there's no rise from China. China is not angry at the United States, which means the risk of miscalculation is a lot lower because they don't see the United States as trying to capitalize on space, but they see them as trying to give up on space, which means that even if debris hit one of their satellites, it wouldn't be considered a possible threat for the United States because the United States is not acting in space right now. There's no funded missions to Mars. And they say that you also have to look at the time frame of their impacts happening. We don't know when debris is going to hit. It could take years. A Trump presidency is in a few months. They'll do this entire debate through time frame. There's a pretty high chance that Trump gets elected because the public hates space. None of their answers to the link is specific to how much the public hates space called with China. They'll do the debate through that specificity.
All right, 5:42 starting now.
Go to the bathroom.
The order is going to be space selections.
Can you talk about that background? Sorry.
What? Yeah, sure. Oh, wait. Everyone good?
1 second. Gotta find space. All right, here we go.
Risk of space wars, high now. U.S. is pursuing space elements that create security dilemmas with risk. Escalation that touches something in other areas, poison space fiction, make space into flash movies. It is an offensive dominator that wins and reliance. Is an abnormal, a small sparks to force countries to ensure accident dominance in moments of crisis. They feel more useful or lose its style as in establishing long-term contact and reversal of U.S. space dominance is necessary to make space relations to requires case outweighs the dissent. Preferred probability and magnitude. Miscalculation is very likely without increased communication and cooperation, and miscalculation on either side triggers ground-based conflict that escalates and goes nuclear, which ends up collapsing humans alone. Their internal link in the dissent is already really sketchy because Trump just doesn't have a chance to do that work. The uniqueness of what was the link to be. But we need more cooperation so that like this war doesn't happen. And it's very likely, like in the squo, on the line, they say that lack of communication won't escalate. However, there's more to the after lack of communication. There's also more cooperation in space. That's what we did. 15 card from the 1AC, and also like not having communication right now means like there's less. Information from the get-go, which means miscalculation is even more likely. They say that China's not angry at the U.S. And they see it. I see the plan as the U.S. is giving up the face. However, that's not what your card says. Also, the Minter evidence from the 1AC indicates that China wants the app and that they see cooperation as like a good thing and not as a concession. They say their Wits card from the 1AC is disproven by the entirety of the 1AC. The U.S. Is pursuing space elements now. That's Zhang, and just because Obama. It doesn't really care about space. The app is about perception, not Obama's policy. Also, we have fiat. Also, this card doesn't mention miscalc on elections. Also on time frame, on time frame, the app probably has a quicker time frame to extinction because when miscalc happens, it's really likely. Also, like Trump won't just like as soon as he elected, like war won't just like immediately break out on elections. First, uniqueness overwhelms the link. That's Edsel. The Edsel evidence is hyper-specific as to why there are no voters left for Trump to switch. All the people who support him are white males who have already switched, so there's not a group that extend that Trump's immigration rhetoric exacerbates the factor of race in the election. There's no way that voters have already switched because if you're not a racist, you're not voting for Trump. Extend the Luxembourg evidence, which makes two devastating claims to the dissent. Hillary will certainly win, and there's not a chance of a Trump presidency, and the media is unfairly blazed against Clinton for her gender and age, which disproves all their poll arguments about why polls are key because the media just doesn't like Clinton. This means that you'll filter all the uniqueness cards through the perception of Hillary is unelectable, and this one completely conceded in the Cats card. The New York Times did a full analysis of every single state and concluded that every single state that tends to vote like the rest of the country is leaning towards Clinton. This means that there is not a risk of uniqueness with the dissent because Clinton's winning every single swing state. They say that Trump is winning Florida, but there is no analysis on this, and it is just completely false. The card doesn't even say that, and Cats says that Clinton will win 70% of the time in Florida, and there's no link to the affirmative. Their cards aren't specific to the Wolf Amendment or the resulting cooperation. Generics are not okay in the debate because voter choice is a complicated decision where many factors are taken into account. Voters aren't a single issue, so passing the plan doesn't change anything. This one conceded in the 2 and R there. Wits card from the 1 and sees that neither Obama nor the population cares about states, which takes out all of the links from the 1 and C, and the email controversy is the only issue that might change voter minds. That's the Blake card from the 2AC, but it hasn't been at the forefront like recently, so that's like also unlikely. And the link that they extended in the 2 and R is just that people don't like more money in space. They massively screwed up by extending this link because they've conceded that the app doesn't increase money in space. That was in the 2AC. All we do is change where the money's going, and then they conceded that there's no threshold for voters. There's no warranted reasons as to why this specific space policy means voters flip to Trump. This means you cannot evaluate any of their links because it's not straight conceded throughout the entire debate. Like there's no reason why voters will switch because of this like one thing, and like they never provided a threshold for like when they'll switch specifically. On the line by line. Also, link uniqueness.
Oh yeah. Also, this means.
I read it. It's on my computer.
Yeah, that's fine. So they say the plan will be spun as self in China. However, Trump is horrible at spinning it. They say that dissent turns case. Even Trump wouldn't collapse relations that quickly. And they say that there's China bashing in the square. They've conceded that. They said that, which means that the link is absolutely not unique. So you. Because Trump's already bashing China, so the plan doesn't change anything. They say it turns space cooperation to answer that above. They say demographics don't assume 20% of undecided voters. However, even if Hillary is only winning by 3% right now, like undecided voters usually like follow voting patterns for the rest of the country with a slight lean on more independent, which means Hillary will still win. They say that
that Trump can still win because of that card. That card doesn't even say the ones they say it makes that Trump is winning in Florida and Ohio right now. Our CATS card is really specific how Hillary will win 70% of the time in Florida, and how voters in Florida like space cooperation because there's a lot of space cooperation coming out of Florida, which is great. Also, they conceded the emails. Like, emails are the only issue. Yeah, they conceded the emails are the only issue that changed voters' mind. They say that. They conceded that emails are the only issue that might change voters' minds because emails are like what Hillary is like, why she's seen as untrustworthy, and that's the only reason why they see that. So Trump's like focusing on that.
It's the only like thing in her path to election.
It's the only thing in her path to election.
So there's no threshold for the after.
So there's no threshold for the after thing. Yeah. Check anything else.
Yeah, they say like that Trump is trying
like
to threat.
even if they win like 1% on a link, you still vote AF because case outweighs, and they like don't have a link, and the link is absolutely non-unique. So there's no way you can vote on the dissent. You have to vote on AF because case outweighs, and like the internal link team is really sketch on the dissent.
That's fun.
Do I have to go outside, Mr. Smelko?
Yes, you do.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
About 10 minutes? 10 minutes? Can we do it in about 10 minutes?
I'm done.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
I'm just waiting for the debaters to come in.
Okay, I'll go get my burner.
No, because you'll get locked out too.
Then you go outside.
I voted negative. I think the DA and the risk of the DA outweighs the minimal risk that's left on case. The biggest issue for me is I think you went for the wrong advantage because what we're talking about with the miscalc is the possibility of a possibility, and the possibility of a possibility is the same thing that you're carping about on the link on the disad. So the question that you're asking me to do is to weigh the difference between a risk on the politics disad that some people are going to change their mind when they have a boatload of cards which talk about China bashing is going to increase, and if it increases, that increases Trump's appeal, that the people, 70% of the population generally hates any idea of cooperation in space, which is pretty specific link, and that affects the election against, I'm never sure what the quantifiable risk of space debris creating miscalculation ever becomes to compare it to. So when we have two risks that are involved, I see one risk as being at this 70% level and the other risk as being unquantifiable. It's a situation where I'm weighing two risks and I'm figuring then, okay, let's talk about the time frame argument. The 2N makes a very good point, which is we don't know when the debris issue is going to happen, but we do know that the elections issue is going to be happening now. And if Trump wins, it's big bang immediately. I don't think you can test very effectively the internal link on the politics disad, the internal link being if Trump takes over, then everyone else collapses its reliance on the U.S., and that immediately buttresses the desire for other nations, smaller nations, larger nations to go proliferate, which instantly creates a very high risk of complete kablooey. So as a consequence, what I've got is a very substantial, far more than 1% risk or probability of an immediate impact that might be very large to weigh against, as I have said, an unquantifiable impact in terms of the risk of debris hitting, the risk of miscalculation resulting in the face of the disad. So I think that at the end of this debate, the cooperation element with China will increase the risk or likelihood that Trump will be elected to a far greater extent than I believe that space debris will create a situation of miscalculation which will generate nuclear annihilation or escalation of violence by China from miscalculation. So that's where I come down. The reason why I say you needed to go to the other advantage is because I think you have a more certainty factor there. And the reason you have a more certainty factor there is because it isn't dependent upon some possibility happening that is not quantifiable or that has not been quantified in this round. So if you're gonna hit a risk-based disad, you need to have something more concrete to weigh against it at the probability level. And the time frame level is unknown for advantage one. The time frame known is certain for the disad, and as a consequence, I think the answers are there, but it makes it difficult. You had the best mileage and the best argument that I've seen in a lot of years, both high school and college, asking the question, why do you get the K and the representations and we don't get this? When you turned the K with the additional cards that they read on case, butchering relations with Chinese, elevating Chinese representations to higher levels than the 1AC ever did, and then let them out of it, that was an easy, in my mind, I mean, these two guys have heard me tell this story. I just think that anybody that runs a representations K and then runs a politics disad or on-case turns that are magnifying the misrepresentations or the evilness of the representations, I just think they're intentionally evil and intentionally violating their own ethical standards. And him getting out of it, which was a cute but successful way to get them to shy off of it. Oh, well, we agreed with you. No, you didn't. You didn't agree that the case comes first. That's, in the future, if you ever let me judge you again, teams like Damien, teams like these people, teams that run a security K and a politics disadvantage against you, I think are being ethically challenged. And you need to do exactly what you did in Cross X and in the 2AC, is make that challenge meaningful. Because it does, I don't know whoever taught you this, but they're right. It does pit you debating against yourself, and it takes away the 2AC, and that's the in-round impact of the skew of one of these inconsistent positions. And you can't ever change that. Him in the block picking one, or him in the 2NR picking one and not the other, still does not ameliorate the strategy skew impact of these conflicted, contradictory, ethically challenged statements that are truly internally contradictory and performance contradictions. Your 2AC is what gets screwed up. So maybe you want to ask him in the cross-X, tell me now, because I'm preparing my 2AC. Which one are you giving up on now? Which 4 minutes of your 1NC is gone? You either lied about the representations being important, or you violated it, and if it's the most important thing, you intentionally did it, and we only unintentionally did it, and we win. Make them suffer when they do that. So you letting them off the hook on that. I would have voted. I would have voted at the 2AC saying, I can't give it 2AC. Sorry. If I answer the disad and the case turns, I feed into the I feed into the critique. If I answer the critique, I feed into the disad and case turns. So round over. Thanks. Perf con's bad. All right. So do you understand what the decision is about?
Yeah.
And where I'm coming from? Okay.
Should the 2AR have been more on like the no link debate or the uniqueness debate, or was it just too much, like not enough like?
It had two problems. One, it wasn't specific enough on the no link. Just muttering no link, no link, no link doesn't get you there. You have to go after, and that's why the best debaters are always the best listeners. You have to go after the specific cards he's extending and answer those. I will give you leeway on the link debate when cards and warrants aren't extended. But the 2NR was very, very good about extending this 70% card and the warrant, which said people, 70% of them, care specifically about space. And because they care specifically about China and space, it's going to give some big oomph factor to Trump that'll get him over the hurdles of the 3% deficit that he's at now.
Which card was that?
It was the 70% card, which is public views space cooperation on China as no liking it. The name on the card is 1NC.
The space card?
Yeah, the space link card, 70%.
The 1NC link.
Don't want people to cooperate on China, so it's.
And so, I guess I think that the 2AR. Did you catch the 2AR saying that like that card is specifically about funding and how the app isn't about funding? Yeah.
It's also about cooperation.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card's not the money card. Different one. This is the
Right.
tech card. A different card was the money card.
Yeah, I don't think he was. I don't think in the 2NR he only extended the money link. He did extend the 70% link. But you got the tape. You can tell. I mean, it's just something that I have down here, big in the negative block and extended in people. Is it Golan? Is that who it is? Any engagement with China is bad. Is that the name of the source? Because that's what you have in the 2NR.
Yeah, there's a few different links.
All right. So so the answer to your question is the specificity of the 2AR as opposed to the generalities of the 2AR are what going to matter in terms of beating the link, or at least mitigating the link to such an extent that I weigh more heavily or come down in favor of more heavily the risk of debris plus miscalculation plus
Yeah, I get it.
kablooey after that.
How do you evaluate the uniqueness debate?
Everybody's proving Clinton's going to win now. Yeah, but not everybody's proving that Clinton is going to win if the plan passes.
Oh, okay. See, okay, I see.
Yes, so the uniqueness debate comes down to, is Clinton winning now? Yes. The link debate comes down to, is there a risk that plan passage will mean that Clinton can't win, won't win, might not win? Yeah. And as a result, we have pretty much conceded internal links to the impacts on, the world goes crazy if Trump wins. And
All right.
In this debate, do you think there was any reason to read that extra impact card in the 1NR? Like on climate change?
nah.
Okay.
Everybody's pretty much arguing the same kind of impact.
Should I maybe read more in the one on our, instead of like the impact card, just more?
No, more focus on the links.
Focus on links, okay.
Alright, thanks.
You understand? I mean, you don't have to agree, but the question is, do you
Yeah,
understand?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah,
Okay, all right.
I have a few questions. You can go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
My 2NC, I was like pretty confused about like when I was going for halfway through. You might have been able to tell like how did it come across and was it effective in any way?
Didn't see it. You didn't let them see you sweat. It was fine.
And would that have been a viable option in the 2NR?
No, I think the only option you had was
Elections.
elections. Yeah, because I mean, they're the fact that they concede the second advantage probably means that you need to just say, here's the difference, that we win if the risk of debris is lower than the risk of Clinton not getting elected. So that's the probability factor. And the time frame, we don't know when there's going to happen, but we do know ours is going to happen November the 7th, and the next day the world goes to hell. And then the magnitude argument, we don't even know that there is a link between miscalculation and an immediate war starting. And by the way, we have all these Eikenberry things and why there'd be no lash out and why there'd be no expansion or great power war. That probably gets you enough.
With the counter plan, like we kind of cut it together last minute, do you think that would have, if explained properly, like, solved the entire game?
No, I think the counter plan, you could have straight turned the counter plan right away, which is, what's the counter plan do? The counter plan does everything that you say the second advantage creates a problem for it. It bashes China. The counter plan and the rhetoric of the counter plan fuels your functional inherency, because everything the counter plan does is exactly what China hates. Yeah.
Do you think it would be better in the 1 hour to kick out of this space advantage, go for relations, and then spend like 2 or so minutes on the pro-con argument?
I would actually started on the perf-con argument and said, hey, this matters to us. I mean, that's why we asked the question. And then, yes, gone to not just what they did, but what it did to you in terms of how you're planning and plotting your 2AC. Because the thing that's screwed up before he kicks out of one is how you deliver your 2AC. And gee, Judge, I could have spent a lot more time on the link debate on politics, but instead I had to answer 2 conflicting arguments.
For elections, just for going forward, since I like reading elections, where could the file become stronger? Because it's like Clinton's winning by a lot right now, so it's hard to win.
For one thing, I think the silver card is 4 days out of date or 5 days out of date. I don't think it's in everybody's shell, so I don't know where everybody's got it, but I think the silver card, while it's good, it's the 6th of September. It's not the 10th of September or the 11th of September. There's some recent stuff today that talks about Hillary Clinton's health and her knees buckling and problems that are getting circulated. So that's maybe something that will push Trump. But you definitely, I think, need to this year. I mean, whoever's going to Long Beach, whoever's going to Green Hill, this year having somebody cut your cards the morning of every round or the morning of every day of the tournament on politics and who's winning is huge, because it seems to be changing daily. And 5 days old, to me, seems kind of ancient as far as the uniqueness card for politics. So that's my thought. Might be another thing to think about sticking in your 2AC.
Thank you so much.
But you're going for uniqueness overwhelms the link, so it's not like you're going to attack, Hillary's winning. Hillary can't lose is your argument, so that's not what's going to come down for you.
Smelko, pasta bar is open after this. Feel free to grab food if you're in or out. Doesn't matter.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. Good luck. Where are you guys going next?
Yeah.
Food, right? Food.
No, debate-wise.
Oh.
What tournament?
Yeah, because we can't make it to Long Beach because we have trips at school.
We might be going to Notre Dame.
Nope.
Our school administration has issues.
No, we're going for Notre Dame. We're going to Notre Dame.
I
We'll
told
go
him
to
today
Long Beach.
that he had to get confirmation from.
No, we're going to Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's your next one?
Nah, the first debater that who debated with my son that I came back in 2002 and started judging and started coaching them. He is getting married the weekend of Long Beach, so I am not going to Long Beach.
Really?
So you two have problems with the school letting you go to tournaments?
Yeah, sometimes.
It's like, they got really mad at us, we just like didn't tell them about tournaments, and then so they like cracked down on us, cause like we had to like sign out a form and like, oh, let the teachers know ahead of time, like a list of tournaments that we might be.
So it's the teachers that get mad?
The teachers, but I think more the administrators, and then so now the administrators are cracking down.
That's, you know what, that's the real problem with national success. It's not like you guys haven't been successful.
It's expensive.
It is expensive, yeah. No, that's a problem. Debate is not easy, it is expensive.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, good luck. When you win, you win. When you lose, you lose, but
I would have done more on like.
you guys know who you're hitting next?
No. I heard Damien MP lost, so that means they hit your team, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so they lost? So,
Yeah.
so San Diego won?
Yeah, so we might be hitting your team or,
2 years, because Trump is probably like a massive impact. Like,
Well, good luck.
JK lost, thank you.
literally, I think also yeah, I was like, we should have recovered the time. I just thought about it, and like, they just wrecked it.
34. 35.
Condo is on there.
Yeah, perf condos. But only have 2 conditional
A
options.
standard for condo is perf con. Like condo allows them to be allowed. You can be conditional.
Yeah, because you could be like a security, if they just read the security K and like just read case, that would still be perf con.
Yeah, literally.
Like if they still read the same case.
I'm aware, but I'm saying if you call it condo, one of your standards for condo is it allows them to be.
Or we could just make it perf con like that.
No, I don't think that follows though. That doesn't make any sense. Because like, I can easily imagine multiple conditional advocacies that aren't contradictory. Like
You could.
you can have the status quo and one conditional.
Yeah, but your standards for each round are specific. So like your standard for this round is they are conditional, allows them to make these contradictory worlds. Oh.
I got like 9 pages of history. About it.